Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news this Saturday evening, where we pose the question, progress, what progress? Because apparently if you are negative about that dropped points today against Spurs, you're a moaner. You're a hater, you have an agenda. Apparently it's fine. It's absolutely fine that we've done this the second week in a row, not turned up in the second half. We actually did play well in the game. Bruno played well in the game. It's all progress. It's all better than last season. So it's all progress. Everything's absolutely fine, apparently. And you're a moaner if you think not. Constructive criticism is not allowed. And yet Ruben Amorim after the game himself admitted that we've got problems. So I sort of get confused by some people really, because I'm not for changing on my match reaction. You know, sometimes I've done them in the past and I've gone, I was a little bit harsh. I don't think so. I don't change it. And what Ruben Amorim said after the game about transfers, injuries, performance, I like Amorim. I want him to do well. I think some people get confused with Amorim in, Amorim out, Amorim doubt, Amorim, I'm not happy with what he did today. I support this manager, but today wasn't good enough. And last week wasn't good enough. And it's 4 points dropped. And people talk about progress. Well, look, you know, your whole downstairs being flooded with shit to only your living room's flooded with shit is progress, isn't it? It depends whether you think the progress matches where we should be. And today, I've got to be honest, I don't sit here tonight going, it's progress, it's progress. Last year we finished 15th and now we're 8th and we'll probably be 9th tomorrow. And by the time we play Everton, we'll probably be in the bottom half of the table because we're playing on a Monday night. I think, tell me what progress is, because I don't buy into it, to be honest with you. I don't buy into the positivity around progress that we will get top 5. I think there's a lot of, I think it's there for the taking, but I think you've got to open your eyes up. The worst thing possible is that these players think they're doing a good job. They're not. Collectively, they're not doing a good enough job. It is better than last season, but in my opinion, it's not good enough. And I think if you sit there and go, it's progress, stop moaning, it lets them off the hook from performances collectively that aren't good enough. Now, people like De Ligt, Lemens, Dorgu, Mbeumo, Ahmad today should hold their heads up high. I think they did very, very well. But there's certain other performances that weren't good that dragged the performance down. I also think as well, like, I know, I get it. Like, I don't know why we have to keep repeating this. I thought Bruno was shit today. Absolutely shit. Should have been subbed off. Don't care who comes on. Don't tell me there was no one that couldn't come on. He was crap. Like, really crap. He should have come off. He should have come off. But then you get people going, well, he got the assist on the corner. And do people not listen to the conversation? He's not a bloody midfielder. He's not a midfielder. If you put him as a 10, he'd probably get more assists. I don't think people understand the conversation around Bruno. It's that he's not a midfielder. It's not new. It was literally spoken about all summer. He's not a midfielder. I have always said I like Bruno Fernandes. I want him to play as a number 10. I do not like him in the midfield. Like, there is context to what people are saying. It's not sell Bruno, you're a shit footballer, get out of Man United. It's stop playing him out of position and put him in his best position or put him on the bench. But stop playing him out of position, because when he takes corners, which has got nothing to do with being a centre midfielder, Declan Rice takes corners, it's not actually the role model of a midfielder. When he takes corners, he's got a good cross on him. When he's in the final third, he's got a good pass on him. But when he's going in for 50-50 tackles or discipliningly looking in front of the defence, he's woeful at it. So I think people miss the conversation. I really, really do. We've got some stuff to get in about what Ruben Amorim said as well. Look, basically, Ruben Amorim said this after the game. People see our results and they see improvement, but we have a lot of problems. We are just in the beginning. We are improving. I mean, look, he's not lying there. We are better than we were last season. But I agree we have a lot of problems. Some of those problems, I think, are brought about by himself. I mean, look, we literally spoke about this last night, and it does matter, because he said yesterday that Mainoo is playing really, really well, but I can't get him in the team because Bruno and Casemiro are playing really well. They're not. They're not. I know Mainoo couldn't play today, so he couldn't have come on, but if Mainoo had been on the bench today, do I think he'd have brought him on for Bruno? I don't think he would. I actually don't think he would. And also, I presume Mainoo's been training well for weeks. There's been many games where Bruno's not played well and he doesn't bring him on. So I don't believe that... I think the Bruno thing is a problem in the midfield. I absolutely do. And you can call me toxic. You can say, you know, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, I tell you what, as a community, we've done pretty well over the last 10 years talking about these types of problems. So if that's the only conversation you've got in a grown-up conversation, I suggest, you know, you get yourself to bed because it's bedtime. You know, child's play. This is not about, I hate Bruno. This is not about, I hate Amorim. This is the sort of conversation grown-ups have. I back Amorim. I don't want to see him sacked. I want him to do well, but I want him to do better. I like Bruno. I don't want to see him in the midfield. I want him playing as a number 10. And I've said that for weeks. So if you're tuning in new and you don't know that, there's the breaking news. If you've been tuning in for weeks and you haven't realised that, you need to listen. I wouldn't sell Bruno if he was playing as a number 10. As a midfield, I think he damages us. I cannot believe he went into a tackle that he should have won against Pedro Porro and backed out of it. What message does that send as a midfielder or as a captain? It's not acceptable, especially in a second half where we're not creating stuff. If it was Dorgu, he'd get pelters. If it was De Ligt, the press would write an article about it. If it's Bruno, he needs calling out. You're the captain of the bloody team. It's a 50-50 tackle. We nearly conceded from it. Like, you've got to do better. You've got to do better. And people talk about Agate. He's not a starter. He's not trusted. What has Agate got to do with the price of milk? Bruno was shit. Bruno should have been took off the pitch or put into number 10. Agate isn't trusted by Amorim, isn't going to be part of Amorim's plans. Surprise, surprise, he comes on and doesn't do very well. You know, he hardly ever gets any bloody minutes. It's hard for them to get up to speed. I think what Maud said on the forum is absolutely spot on. We saw it with Mazraoui. We've seen it with Mainoo. We've seen it with Agate. They don't get enough minutes. They're not match fit. They're not up for it. But explain to me this other excuse. We were really tired. It's a good point. It's a good point because we were really tired in the second half. Why are we tired? What have we got to be tired about? Our last game was last Saturday against Nottingham Forest at 3 o'clock. 7 days later, we play another 90 minutes, and in the second half, we're tired. So basically, we can only play 45 minutes. Is that what we can play 45 minutes a week, and then in the second half, we'll be knackered, blowing out of our arse. Most teams are playing twice a week. We're playing once a week, and we're tired. I don't understand why we're tired. People said Casemiro, oh, he was blowing out of his arse, he needed to come off. Casemiro will be playing every 3 or 4 days in the World Cup for Brazil next year. And he can't play 90 minutes for Manchester United once a week. Come on. Come on. Why are we so lethargic in the second half of football games? Because we are. Check my tweets. When we were winning 1-0, I said we're lethargic. I didn't expect us to lose, but we were lethargic in the second half. The chance creation in the second half was poor. The application was poor. It was a very tired performance. The passing was lazy and poor. We didn't create chances. We were slow into the tackle. I don't understand why. I don't understand what it is about being 1-0 up away from home that you think, let's drop off. And we've done it second week in a row. I genuinely think we've dropped 4 points in the last week. I do. I really, really do. But look, I want to get into your comments as well. Ruben Amorim, I mean, look, what we need to talk about as well is look, Fenke says a draw is a bad result. I think, look, you're all entitled to your opinion, but people don't want to listen to ours. So you want to sit there and go, a draw's a good result, we're unbeaten in 5, what you're moaning about, but you won't listen to what we're not moaning about, what we're frustrated about, because progress is absolutely nailed on. It is progress. But is it? So you know what? If it chucks it down with rain today and tomorrow it only rains for 3/4 of the day, does that make it a good day? It's progress. It's not rained as much, but it's still a washout. We are making progress, but you know, that doesn't mean you're blind to the fact that we were bloody lucky to draw today. I mean, am I the only one who realises we scored a last-minute equaliser? So you're telling me to sit here and be relaxed, positive, and okay about literally, for the second week in a row, a get-out-of-jail equaliser. And I'm meant to sit here and go, oh, it's fine. We're unbeaten in 5 games. We're doing really, really well. You know, I accept with this progress, and I like the draw, but I can't get my head around why people are going, it's fine. Enjoy your weekend. It's all good. It's like, did you not see why we drew the game? literally a set piece at the on the back post. Like, we're very lucky to get a draw. And people are going, it's fine. It's a good result. You know, no, it's not just about results, is it? Because we've missed the opportunity 2 weeks in a row from being 1-0 up to go into the top 4. And if we keep doing that, we won't get Champions League football. It will not happen if we keep doing this. And Amorim is picking an experienced team. He's using people like Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro, Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire. He's using those players over the likes of Menu, over the likes of Yoro, over the likes of Sesko, over the likes of Dorgu when it's Delo. So he's going with experience, but that experience isn't actually getting us the results, is it? You know, with all that experience, we're still relying on last-minute equalisers and a bit of luck. So when we talk about progress, what's the definitive progress then? Have we just been unlucky that we've squandered leads in the last 2 weeks against crap sides at home? You know, Forest are in the bottom 2, by the way, and Spurs' home record has them in the bottom 4. So that's progress, is it, to get scrappy, somewhat undeserved draws? It's not progress, is it? We're very good at home. We had a very good result against Liverpool, but I would have expected, having beaten Liverpool at Anfield and done very, very well against Brighton, that the last 2 games we wouldn't have put those performances in. And the first half against Forest and Spurs wasn't that good. We scored first, but it wasn't that good. And the second halves have been bad. And also, we're conceding nearly 2 goals a game. We've spoken about the positives of scoring 2 goals a game, but we're conceding nearly 2 goals a game as well. We play a back 5. We've got a good goalkeeper. And we're playing a back 5. De Ligt's been our best player this season. Maguire's been good. Luke Shaw's been quite good. Why are we conceding 2 goals a game? I think we've conceded 18 goals or 19 goals in 11 games. So 22 goals would be exactly 2. So we're well north of 1.75 goals per game. And yet we've got a good goalkeeper and we've got some good defenders and we're playing a back 5. Why are we conceding so many goals? I'll tell you why we're conceding so many goals, because people are creating enough chances to get 2 goals. It wasn't like Spurs had 2 chances. Lemens made 2 bloody good saves. So why are we conceding so many goals when we've got a good back 5 and a good goalkeeper? Because the midfield's not good enough. Simple as that. Simple as that. So I want to see better than this. I want to see better than this. And that's my statement. It's not Amorim out. It's completely the opposite. But I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, it's better than last season. It's better than last season. It's progress. It's where we are. We're Manchester United. We should never ever lose sight of that. We're Manchester United. And the day we sit in 8th place celebrating a draw against Spurs is the day we've got a massive problem. This is not anti-United. This is not hate. It's not agenda. It's not Amorim out. It's a frustrated conversation about why we've dropped 4 points in the last 2 weeks when there's a golden opportunity in front of us. And apparently we've changed, and apparently, you know, we're a new United now, and yet we're doing exactly what we've done for the last 5 years, inexplicably switching the light off when we should be switching the light on. So the question is, why is this happening? Is it bad luck? Well, I don't think it's bad luck. Why do we need luck ourselves to scrape draws against teams we should be winning? And is it going to change after the international break? Are we going to go to Crystal Palace and do the same? Or are we going to go to Crystal Palace and win? And I feel like trust the process, Fenke, is the biggest load of arse wipe comments I've ever heard in my life. Trust what process? That's my point. What progress? There is progress, but what progress is it? What is it tonight that you can tell me that makes me go, yeah, we're going to be fine? Do we play fluid, fast-flowing football? No. Do we create loads of chances? No. Are we conceding goals? Yes. Are we reliant on, you know, moments to get back into games? Yes. 5th place is up for grabs and we might get it. But I'm disappointed. I'm frustrated. I think we made a lot of mistakes today. And apparently that's a bad thing. Apparently it was a great result today. Somebody even said in the comments of the match reaction, it was a good performance. Bruno played well. And it wasn't a troll. It wasn't a troll because it was quite detailed. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not changing my opinion on this. I'm very frustrated. at what was a shit second half performance. And I don't understand when we're playing teams like Spurs and Forest who aren't that good, why we come out in the second half and sit back. Why do we come back in the second half and not try and get the second goal? Why do we lose the ability to pass? Why do we lose intensity? Why do we become really lethargic? Why do we leave it all to our goalkeeper and our defence? Like, Mbeumo may as well have been in a graveyard shift. You know, it was embarrassing, the second half, how little we did. And we've got a big Sesko problem now, by the way. I didn't really want to be talking about this, but this is what Ruben Amorim had to say. I am concerned with Sesko. Knee injury. We don't know what it is yet. We need him to be a better team. I've got no idea because it's the knee. We never know. Now, look, I just want to say, I don't think Sesko played particularly well today. But there is one thing I will say, and I saw a few people doing this on social media, blaming him that we went down to 10 men. There was even people saying that, you know what, I think he should have stayed on the pitch, so we had an extra man on the pitch. I've never heard such bollocks in all my life. I mean, this guy may have done his cruciate ligament, and people are saying he should have stayed on the pitch. Like, he probably should have done better on his chance, but we can't blame him for Man United being down to 10 men. We can't seriously be saying, well, he should have took one for the team and stayed on. He probably couldn't fucking run. I mean, it's 2025. Sports science has been around for a long time. You can't keep a player on with a serious knee injury just so you've got 11 players. He literally would be in agony and barely able to move. And people are literally talking about that on social media. Like, he should have took one for the team and stayed on the pitch. I mean, for fuck's sake. I mean, I understand. I'm frustrated. I am frustrated. But come on. You know, he didn't play well, but you can't expect him to stay on the pitch. And it's our own fault because we've made the subs with 25 minutes to go. We haven't got anything left. It's a risk. 9 times out of 10, we'd have been fine. But it happens to other teams. It happened to us. We went down to 10 men. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? But if his injury is bad, I mean, I tell you what as well. I posed this question to you tonight. I've seen a few people saying, why did we get rid of Rasmus? Why have we got rid of Rasmus? We'd have been better off with Rasmus. I mean, coulda, woulda, shoulda. The reality is, you have spoken about this ever since the summer. And I literally said it yesterday. And I'm not taking any bloody responsibility for it. I've not jinxed anything. It's football. It can happen. But it has been mentioned multiple times. If anything happens to Sesko, regardless of whether he's performing well or not, we don't have a striker. We don't. We will have to go back to this false nine shit, which never works. Like, there hasn't been a game yet where Cunha's played that well in the false nine mix-up thing. I mean, Sesko could... I mean, it's terrifying to think because we don't have a striker. Xerxes might be able to do it, but he can't... I don't think he's a striker either. I think Xerxes is a 10. So, look, Xerxes probably gets his chance now. But I'm just praying that Sesko injury is not bad because if he's out... And remember, Xerxes had 2 bad injuries in the last 8 months. We're threadbare. We're threadbare up front, aren't we? But that could be a big injury, and you know, hopefully it won't be. He also spoke about strengthening the team in January, and he said, first of all, we need to see what happens with Sesko. We are going to have a problem with the departure of Ahmad and Mbeumo to the AFCON, but we already knew that. We can anticipate it in the summer before the start of the season, but you end up with a bunch of players who aren't going to play because there's only 1 match per week. It's a tough situation to manage, but let's see if we can improve the team when the transfer window opens. Yeah, I mean, I sort of do agree with him on that. Like, you wouldn't bring another number 10 in just because Mbeumo and Ahmad are going to go away because, you know, Mason Mount can't get game time, Xerxes can't get game time. So you wouldn't bring another number 10 in because they'd be sat on their arse. But another striker we probably should have. And another midfielder is not impacted by the AFCON anyway. So, look, hopefully Amorim there is giving a little bit of a hint away that we might do something in January because the midfield definitely does need work. Regardless of... And look, to be fair, I'm sure I read something tonight that Casemiro asked to come off because he was injured. So, you know, if he's injured, he's injured. That's why. But you can't keep players on who are playing badly for 90 minutes. You can't do that. You've got to have the ability to change things. Otherwise, the inevitable will happen. And he's got to be given at least one midfielder in January and one in the summer. It has to happen because I remember having this conversation in the summer with you and we were talking about it. And I want to get proved wrong. I've said this multiple times. I want to get proved wrong. I want Amorim to be right. He's the manager. He gets paid the money. He is the one whose decisions actually make a difference. Our opinions and decisions are relevant, but they're not going to make a difference. So if he wants to keep playing Bruno for 90 minutes in the midfield every week, I hope it works. I hope it works because I want Man United to win. I want us back in the Champions League. So I hope it's going to work. But it was a conversation that we had in the summer. And many of us said, I think he's a problem in the midfield. He doesn't know the job. He doesn't know the role. He's not disciplined enough. He's not a good tackler. He doesn't track the runners. So the only thing he's got are assists. But most of his assists don't come from the midfield. They come from taking the corner. You know, he could be right back taking corners. He could be the number 10 taking corners. So yes, Bruno gets assists. But you can't use that as the reason to pick him in the midfield because he would still get those assists if he was playing as a number 10. The midfield situation is the problem. And it was spoken about in the summer, and I think it's a massive problem. But like we're not doing anything about it. And in certain games we will be fine. But I think away from home this season, in second halves, there is a running theme. Second half against Fulham, we were very lucky not to lose that game. We got dominated in the second half. Where else have we been away to? Brentford, dominated in the midfield, got battered. Man City, dominated in the midfield, got battered. Forest, dominated in the midfield. Today, dominate. So 5 of our 6 away games, our midfield has lost the battle. Liverpool, we won. It's amazing, isn't it? You go to Liverpool, Anfield, hard place, our biggest rival, and you win. You go to 5 other places where you think you might win and you get beat in the midfield. Multiple games where our possession is below 50%. Multiple games where our pass accuracy is below 80%. We've got a big problem in the midfield, and away from home, I think it hurts us. I think at home, and you saw it with Sunderland today. I think what we've seen in football this year is the rejuvenation of home form. Most people are good at home. And obviously we've seen the introduction of long throw-ins again and set pieces, but we've got a huge midfield problem. And when Casemiro's your best midfielder and he's 33, that's a problem as well because there's no long-termism in that. There's no future in that, and we know Casemiro's legs are going. So we've got a huge midfield problem. And what we've got to try and do is stay relevant between now and Christmas. Now we've got some good fixtures in December, but good fixtures don't necessarily mean 3 points. Forest was a good fixture. Spurs are shit at home. And, we've took 2 points from 6. So we've got to try and stay relevant until January, and we've got to bring a midfielder in. And that, to me, is progress, if we can do that. Because what I want to be very, very clear about here is, and I think some people misinterpret it, because maybe they can't live in a world that's niche. They can't live in a world that's not based on extremities of yes and no and nothing in between. This is not a conversation about Amorim out. You will not see an Amorim out conversation from my lips over the next international break, where there'll be plenty of topics and conversations about players and transfers and everything like that. This is not about that. This is about being ridiculously frustrated as repetition and frequency hits us in the face again. There was times in that Spurs game today where I was like, we're going to do it. We actually are going to do it. Spurs aren't that good. We've got the goal. We haven't played very well. We're going to win playing not that well. It's going to be a big 3 points and we're going to be in the top 4. And then you see the goals go in, the first and the second, and you go, I'm so frustrated. I'm not surprised. And it happens all the time. It's been happening for years, and we've got to break that. And it's so hard to break it when he's relying on players that have basically made a career out of it at Manchester United. Some of them are just so set in their ways. I don't understand. I don't understand the last 2 games, how we're 1-0 up. And like we were literally, the Forest game, you'd know it. You've seen it before. But the Spurs game, at half time on the watch along, We're literally talking about last week. We're going, we were in this position last week. If we haven't learned in the last week how to deal with that situation so we don't do it again, we may as well give up. And what happens? We go and do it again. And I almost get to the point where I'm like, it can't be fixed then, can it? It can't be fixed because Ruben Amorim is intelligent. He's a good manager and he speaks really well and he's a good coach. And if he is telling them from the Forest game what went wrong at half time, we were 1-0 up and we completely capitulated. And he's had a whole week to talk about it. Right, this is our chance to put it right. And then you're 1-0 up at half time at Spurs and you go, right, this really is our chance to put it right because last week we fucked up. And then they still go and do it. You're sort of like going, we might never be able to stop doing this. Like, we've done it 2 weeks in a row. Literally just stopped playing in the second half. And it's like, it's really hard to trust this team. And I haven't checked social media, but there might be 1 or 2 players that have gone, not the result we wanted, but, you know, we'll be back. And you go, nah, I don't trust you on that one. I'm sorry. You know, why you did it last week against Forest and you put the same Instagram or post out or whatever. I don't have the answer to that. And that's why I'm frustrated because I just don't know that there is an answer. I don't know that there is an answer because it's like we really should have lost one of the games between Forest and Spurs and we've got a draw. But I think if you're decent, you win both. I really do. So, look, we come back from the international break. Everton at home. Might be quite difficult, actually, because they'll play a low block. But you'd expect us to win at home. Then we've got to go to Palace. And that's difficult. Then we've got teams like Wolves and stuff. So, look, if we can keep winning our home games, we've got a great chance of staying involved. But, look, as I said, we could be 9th tomorrow. If Crystal Palace or Brighton win, we will be 9th tomorrow, which is where we were at the last international break. So despite 5 games unbeaten and what we had, 11 from 15, it's not bad, but you got to, you know, we're in contention, but we're conceding nearly 2 goals a game. We've got a good goalkeeper. We've got a good defence. Why are we conceding so many chances? Why are we conceding so many goals? And why are we not feeding our attackers better? It's the midfield. It's the problem you knew in the summer, I knew in the summer. So let's stop arguing with each other and calling it moaning or negativity, because the people who are saying you're a moaner or being negative are exactly the same people in the summer saying, why didn't we buy a midfielder? And I think everything comes back to that. I think it's simplified. The midfield has been neglected. Games are won and lost in the midfield, and the last 2 weeks have shown that. The midfield is the most important area of the pitch, and it's not good enough to support our defence, and it's not good enough to supply our attack. And yes, Cunha wasn't very good today, but he was frustrated. And Mbeumo was out of the game in the second half, because we're not getting the ball to them. Let me read some of your comments. Sanchez says, I'm not pissed because we drew, but because we do not learn from our mistakes. I have big doubts on Ruben now. He's responsible and he makes some atrocious decisions. Look, honestly on Amorim, I think he cost us today. And that's my opinion. But I don't have any doubts about him being our manager. And people will go, what are you talking about? Because every game's an individual battle and there's a bigger war. And I agree with Amorim. Like, what did he say after the game? Like, I totally agree with him. Actually, I'm really pleased he said it. I totally agree with him. He said, people see our results and see the improvement. He's right. We're in a better position than we were last season. But we still have a lot of problems. We do. We're just in the beginning. We are improving. But I agree with him. And this is what I mean. Like, there's people taking a pop at people like us who are not happy tonight and who are frustrated tonight. But our manager completely agrees with us. So I don't understand who the people are who are moaning at us for being moaners when Ruben Amorim agrees with us. This is not Amorim out. This is, I'm very frustrated about today and I blame him for it. But it's one game. And he does need a lot of help. He hasn't got a midfielder and that's not his fault. He needs midfielders. We will be a better team. That defence is good. That attack is good. Put a good midfield in there. You're better. You know, you don't have people jumping out of tackles. You don't have people misplacing passes. You have proper players in the position. So Amorim out is bollocks. Like, get him midfielders and let's see progress. Because if you don't, my concern is that Amorim out movement might come back very quickly if we start dropping points again because of what happened today. Why do I blame Amorim for today then if he hasn't got a midfield? Because there was changes he should have made. There was changes he should have made very, very quickly. I think at 1-0, he should have took Bruno off or moved him into the number 10. What I would have done, and you know, this might be a little bit revolutionary for you because people were like, well, he could only bring Agate on and Casemiro wanted to come off. No. Bruno Fernandes is not a midfielder. What he should have done, in my opinion, is he should have took Cunha off, put Bruno to 10, and put Mount in the midfield. That's what I would have done. Because Bruno is a 10, I think that's his best position, and Mount was actually really energetic when he came on, but obviously couldn't get in the game as much as Mbeumo couldn't either because they were playing in the front three. So I would have done that. At 1-0, it was very, very clear that the midfield was a problem. And for me, he should have made that change. I also think that secondary to that, I don't have a problem with his subs, by the way. Mount, I thought did okay. Sesko coming on was the right thing to do. Get your striker on and try and get a goal. Dorgu was on a yellow card. Flip of a coin. Do you go for Delo at left wing back or do you risk Dorgu? And Mazraoui was only ever going to play 60 minutes. So the subs and Ahmad went to right wing back and did quite well. The subs weren't a problem. It was who came off. So, you know, that's number one. Number two, there was a lot of changes. Like, the team had no rhythm. And people talk about the first half. We didn't play well in the first half. The first 20 minutes, Spurs were the better team. We had a good 5 minutes. We scored a goal. And then Spurs were the better team again. And then the second half, we weren't very good at all. So I don't think it was overall a very good performance. But there was no rhythm to the performance. There was no fluidity. There was no patterns of play. Now, it might not have happened anyway, but it's very difficult to have that where, I mean, I wouldn't call him Ranieri, and I like Ranieri, but he is a bit of a tinker man. He does change and tinker the team a lot. And I think people are starting to wake up to it because we've spoken about it when the team news comes out. To the untrained eye, he only made 3 changes. He dropped Delo, Sesko and Yoro, but he didn't. He made about 6 because De Ligt moved to the right instead of the centre. So that's 1 change. Ahmad went to number 10. So that's 2 changes. And Mbeumo went from the right side to the left side, which is 3 changes. And then you've got the 3 players that actually came in. So there were 6 changes to that team, 6 positional changes. And if you think playing centre-back and right centre-back is the same, no, it's not. If you think playing right wing-back and right number 10 is the same, no, it's not. And if you think if you're playing right number 10 and left number 10, it's the same, no, it's not. And let's not forget, Cunha moved position as well. So technically, we had 7 changes to our team. That's ridiculous. The personnel might be the same, but the position isn't. And that's too many changes at this level. Too many changes. So we've got 1 game a week. I think we need to stick to a pattern and stick to it. And for me, De Ligt centre-back, Yoro, Shaw until Martinez is back. Dorgu, Ahmad, Casemiro, Bruno, Cunha, Mbeumo, Sesko. Sesko's injured now, but stick to that team as much as you can. Because it's like we're trying to run before we can walk. There was too many changes, in my opinion, today. And, you know, people say the title of the video was a bit unfair, Amorim cost us. But it doesn't mean that, it's like the worst thing in the world. I felt, as a fan, he made way too many changes for the start of the game. And there was no rhythm and there was no pattern to our play. And I think that was a wasted opportunity because I personally think if we'd gone Sesko, Cunha and Mbeumo, 3 players who played in the same position last week, Ahmad on the right wing back, played there last week, Yoro, De Ligt played there last week, Luke Shaw played there last week, Casemiro, Bruno played there last week, Lemens played there last week, and you changed Dorgu for Delo, it's 1 change. But we ended up with about 6 or 7 changes, and I think away from home as well, it doesn't matter how well you train all week, and we probably trained really well, but I think it's too many changes, making too many changes. And when you've got a massive hole in the midfield like we have, I think he made too many changes. But look, I also think the mentality of the team and certain players, I don't think he can do anything about it. I'm sure he sat there tonight going for the second week. I mean, it must be very frustrating for him. I detected from his post-press... I mean, again, the hilarious thing is, and the thing I really like about Amorim, is that he tends to be in tune with the less positive theory. Remember when we played our first game at home under Amorim and we beat Everton, and there was all these people going, Amorim balls here. And I did my match reaction. I went, really happy he's won, but that is nothing like Amorim ball. Oh, you're being negative. And then 20 minutes later, he did an interview and went, that's not Amorim ball. We're going to suffer. And it's sort of like these people who try to be positive and put you down get put down by the manager. And it's like today, after the game, a lot of us were frustrated. You get told not to moan. It's a good result, this, that, and the other. The manager comes out and goes, we've got a lot of problems. You know, there is improvement, but we've got a lot of problems and we're going to need a lot of patience. And you sort of like go, you're going to slag the manager off, are you? You're going to slag the manager off for saying we've got loads of problems, just like we've all been saying. So I like that from Amorim, but I do think he's got to try and stick with putting people in the same position every week as much as possible, because we've all experienced the Premier League. He's still learning, and frequency and familiarity really does help you. You know, when you look at the likes of Dyche's Burnley, David Moyes, Nuno, these aren't great ways to play football, but they get results out of familiarity, simplicity, and keeping it the same. And I certainly don't think we're in a position at the moment to just keep changing. I think it's too many changes. Yeah, I think it's too many changes. Let me go through some of your comments. Why can't our midfielders keep possession? It's so annoying watching Casemiro pass first time and Bruno make the worst choice when he gets the ball. I think this is a good point, Archie, because Casemiro has changed his game since being reintroduced into the Man United side last February. He doesn't keep the ball. He gets the ball and he moves it, preferably first time. And the reason he does that is because he knows, because of his advancing years and slowness, if he keeps the ball, he's vulnerable to being pressed. So he moves the ball quickly, which is problematic if you want to retain possession. Bruno Fernandes, well, we know about Bruno. He loves the Hollywood ball, so he's not really for retaining possession either. The problem with that is that when it's a draw and both teams are trying to score, it works quite well because you transition quickly. You're trying to get a goal, you know, and we do get goals. But when it becomes problematic is when you're 1-0 up, and what you need to do is actually, and we spoke about this at half time, when you're 1-0 up, especially when you're away from home, and you're 1-0 up, and you know the opposition are going to come at you in the second half because they need a goal, you need calm heads. You need people who can keep the ball, and if you've got the ball, they can't score. And you need people to keep the ball and keep possession well, so that when they're desperately trying to get the ball off you, you can pick out the pass. You can keep, you know, you can capitalise on that. And that's why for 2 weeks in a row we've capitulated, because we can't keep the ball. And the massive part of keeping the ball is your midfield. Take it off the back four, give it back to the back four, play it out wide, have it back, you know. Keeping possession, we are so bad at it. Our pass accuracy is bad. Our possession stats are bad. For example, if our pass accuracy had been like 87% today instead of 79%, and we'd had 55% possession instead of 48, whatever it was, 45, we win that game. We win that game. I don't need chance creation. I know we've won that game because we've kept the ball a lot more than we actually did, which means Spurs haven't got it. And it's a great point because we're so bad at it. And so many people mentioned this at half time. In the second half, we need to get over the ball, keep possession, and wait for the opportunity to get the second goal. But we don't. We get the ball and we give it away because we're trying to do something too quick. We're 1-0 up. They're panicking, not us. Keep the ball, rotate the possession, wait for the opportunity. No, we didn't do it. Didn't do it again. And that's because our midfield isn't capable of doing it. I understand why Casemiro doesn't want to do it, because if he tries to keep the ball, he gets pressed and he loses it. I understand why Bruno doesn't want to do it, because it's not really his game. But you've got to have those players to do that. And we haven't got them. Tabby says, in the watch-along, someone mentioned nepotism. You laughed it off, and now you're complaining about Bruno always playing. The definition of nepotism, Amorim is Ollie in disguise. Bruno Casemiro is McFred. I don't think he is nepotism because he dropped Dalot. He's apparently in his family tree, isn't he? So I don't think it's nepotism. I think Bruno Fernandes is the captain and he's our best player and he's got to get him in the team somehow. And it's a sad state of affairs that to do that, he's got to put him out of position. I don't think that's nepotism. I think it's I've got to pick our best player and captain. So he's got to get him in the team somehow. And it's a bit like England under Sven-Göran Eriksson. You know, he had Scholes, Lampard, Gerrard. Only one of them should have played. It should have been a Carrick or a Butt next to one of them. He used to put Gerrard and Lampard together and Scholes on the wing. It's just like you've got three players who play the same position. Two of them got to go on the bench and let them compete. But we're sort of doing that. The only day I see United being United is when Harry, Bruno, Dalot, Luke Shaw and Casemiro are not in the club, says Sanchez. Personal question, is there a point where you need to take a break from the United stand because the stress job gets too much? It must be tough. I'm absolutely fine, Kean. I enjoy it. I love it. It's harder. For me, I love the conversation. It's therapy. So, and I think we've had, I mean, come on, mate. Seriously, these conversations we're going to have over the next couple of weeks is great. But we've been in much worse situations. Much worse situations. Why can't our midfield keep possession? Done that from Archie. Great question. I don't want to hear the progress talk, says Parker. Life is about grabbing opportunities. There are 3 games this season alone that we should have won, says Parker. Should have beat Fulham. Could have got a result out of Arsenal. Should have beat Forest last week. Should have beat Spurs today. We'd probably be top of the league, which is unrealistic, but we're dropping a lot of points. The 2 teams we cross the ball, we score. The 2 times we cross the ball, we score, says Keel. The ownership needs to respond appropriately in January. I know they won't, but a striker on loan and a midfielder are desperately needed, says Andre. Tired from playing 1 game a week. Good luck when we also have to play in the FA Cup, says M&M. We are 1+ on goals. I blame Anana, says Slow Sports News. Our goal difference is never good. I can't remember the last season we had a good goal difference. It must have been Ollie. Goldbridge Gold says, we all know if you liked Casemiro, you do a full show analysing how tough it is to play alongside Bruno, yet Casemiro still manages to perform, says Goldbridge Gold. I don't think Casemiro played well today. I think he was a 6 out of 10, wasn't he? Voted for by you. Don't even need to give you my score. I don't think Casemiro was that good today. I thought he was okay. I wouldn't do a whole show on Casemiro because he's 33 and his legs are gone. Like, he's our best midfielder, but there's no future in it. It's nothing to get excited about, is it? He's got a hard job. He's got a very hard job as well. I don't agree with this. Kevin says Dalot and Dorgu both shite. I think anybody who actually doesn't have a personal vendetta against Dorgu, which I don't understand, I actually think he played well today. I've not watched the whole game back yet. I sort of skimmed through the first half, but I actually thought he played well. But some people just won't allow it. I wouldn't give him an 8 out of 10, but I definitely thought he was a 6.5. Definitely. I understand what you're saying, but last year we wouldn't have equalised today. Heads would have dropped. I understand we dropped points, but it's progress. Evan, I understand what you're saying, but I don't think you're listening to what I'm saying. Like, we were very, very lucky today. We should have lost. And yet, if we were good, we would have won. That's my point. Of course, last season we would have lost the game. Anana would not have made those 2 saves. I think we would have lost 3 or 4-1. I genuinely think we would have lost 3 or 4-1 last season because Lamens is a massive upgrade on Anana. And De Ligt's got that last-minute goal. But that's my point. So we sit here and go, oh, we're happy. It's progress. That's my point. That's what I'm trying to say. It is an improvement, but is it enough to sit here going everything's all right? If it is, well done. But I think to many of us, it's sort of like, what is this progress talk people are talking about? So just because we're not total shit, we have to sit here and smile and go, it's okay. We've just dropped 4 points in 2 games. And we're conceding too many goals. And we need lucky late equalisers. I don't think that's progress to the level that I'm happy with. I'm sorry. It's progress. But some of you seem to be very happy about that. And I'm like, I don't think it's good enough. I don't think it's good enough. I don't think today was progress anyway. I think it was luck. Evening, Mark, friends and legends. Why are we not killing games off? We seem to play well in spells, but it's not a prolonged period. Our midfield was always going to bite us in the arse, as Mike JW. I'll tell you what progress would have been today, just to be fair. If in the second half, we'd had as many chances as they'd had, Vicario had made 2 good saves, and it's 2-1 and De Ligt scores that goal, I would say that's progress because we played really well. We should have won the game. They got a bit lucky. Their keeper made a couple of saves and we only got what we deserved at the end. But I didn't see that. I didn't see Vicario making any big saves. I didn't see us playing well. I saw us getting a goal from a corner at the end of the game. We didn't play well. Despite the result, Lemens had a fantastic game and made some awesome saves. Denying Romero was icing on the cake, says Slow Sports News. Thank you very much for that. Even as a 10, Bruno's too slow, says JB. I'd love to see Manu given a run in Bruno's role and Bruno given a run in Cunha's role and Cunha going up front now. I think it's such a massive opportunity. Bruno does not work in the midfield. I don't think he wants to play in the midfield. Bruno at number 10 is arguably our best player. Sesko could be out for a very long time. For me, you put Manu next to Casemiro, you put Bruno into Cunha's role, and you put Cunha into Sesko's role. I think it works. I genuinely think it will work. And I think it solves all sorts of problems. I really, really do. Cunha can play up front. I think he's done it for Brazil. He's done it for Manchester United. So I just think it's such an open goal. It solves so many problems. Manu gets a run in the team. We get Bruno out in the midfield into his best position as a 10. And we get Mbeumo and Cunha running off him. I think it's so obvious. It's so obvious. And that could be the thing that really gets us going. Do I think it'll happen? I hope it happens. I really hope it happens. Do you think it'll happen? Would you want it to happen? But yeah, for me, there's an opportunity now that you go Lemens in goal, Ahmad right wing back, Dorgu left wing back, Shaw, De Ligt, Yoro, Casemiro, Manu, Bruno, Cunha, and Mbeumo. I mean, that to me is as good as it gets. And we get to answer the questions that are frustrating us. Bruno gets taken out of the midfield into the number 10 role where we know he's still going to get the assists. He'll probably get more assists. The scary thing is, if Bruno's getting assists from midfield, but it's not because he's in the midfield, then imagine what he can do as a number 10. I would love to see it happen. I'd love to see it happen. I'm from Ballyshannon in Donegal Island, says Baz. Amorim's Portuguese bias with Bruno will cost us. Next game, move Bruno to 10 and put Cunha up top, up the Irish. Mate, I hadn't even read that. High five. I completely agree. Our strategy is hope and luck, says Keel. We are cooked when Ahmad and Mbeumo go to the AFCON, says Bisson. It wasn't Amorim's fault. The players can't sleep the second half every match, says Too Easy. Standards are on the floor. It's incredible. We have to look at this as progress every single week for the rest of the season. Hope everyone enjoys No Europe next season. Mate, you know what? I think there's been toxicity in the fan base. There probably still is tonight. But, I know in the past we've had arguments and stuff, and I think that's part of a healthy relationship. But I am not backing down on this one. Not tonight. This is nothing to do. And I've not seen anybody say Amorim out. Like, it's not that. That's not the conversation. What we're talking about here today is high frustration at simple mistakes that keep happening, and we need to stop it. Because if we change it now, we've still got a chance. Fifth place is up for grabs. We need to stop this bloody midfield nonsense. It's killing us every game. No possession, no pass accuracy, not chances being created, too many goals being conceded. We know we've got a good defence. We know we've got a good attack. Let's get the midfield sorted. And there's an opportunity now. You can put Bruno into 10 because Sesko's injured, and you can play Manu and give him a run of games. And we've got a good run of games coming up. Everton at home, Wolves at home and away. We've got an opportunity now. I don't know whether it'll happen, but if it doesn't, you're sort of like going, it's progress because we lose that game last year, says Callum. The progress is a decent keeper and Mbeumo, says Ivan. One huge progress this season is we're able to come back after conceding or going behind. Players' mentality is improving, says Chick. I agree with everything everybody's saying, but the context is also important. Like, scoring from a corner with the last touch of the ball isn't guaranteed. There's an element of luck of that. Like, that's not guaranteed. Like, Ahmad scoring a worldie last week, it's not guaranteed. It's not sustained pressure, is it? There's an element of luck because it's literally like a smash and grab. Performance needs to be there for me for it to be progress as well. It can't just be, well, we got a lucky equaliser, so it's progress. The context is also the performance, why we were in that position, did we deserve to draw, who were we the better team, and all that stuff has to be figured in as well, which is what I think we spent the last hour trying to discuss, really. Remember, they played midweek and we didn't, says FK. Well, they didn't have Kudus. They didn't have Bergvall either, and they played midweek. Even as a 10, Bruno's too slow, says JB. Thank you very much. If you can see progress from last year... Sorry, Daz says, if you can't see progress from last year, you're blind. The squad's a top 8 team, not a top 4. We win 3 in a row and everyone thinks we're going to be top 4. It's going to be up and down. No one is consistent in 2025. I think in some ways we've wasted an hour because some people are just still locked on being too literal. And there's been a real attempt, and well done to everybody who understood it. But there's still people going, of course it's progress. Look at last year. And it's sort of like, yeah, okay. It's the world we live in, isn't it? Some people are just literal. Their brains don't get it. They're just completely one or the other. We all know we've got more points than last year. We all know we're slightly better than last year. But we're still doing a lot of the things we did last year. And we should be better. We're dropping points. We're switching off. We're not playing well. Mistakes are being made on selections. If you think this is progress, basically what we're saying to you is we should be better. We should be better. Not fantasy better. We should be better. We should have won today. There could have been better selections. Like, we could have played better. We are underperforming. Even though it's progress from last year, we are making mistakes. Mistakes are being made. Our players are switching off at half time. If you think this is good, well done. Some of us are like, I'm sorry, that's massively frustrating. Look from Dunblane, Scotland. How long until 5 in a row, says Finley? Hopefully before Christmas. It's gone when Uncle Casemiro came off and Delo came on, says Sai. Someone's done that one as well. Thank you very much. Someone described to us our strategy to score, says Keel. Yeah, well, look, Keel makes a great point. What's the style of play? What's our system? What's our style of play? How do we play? How do we create chances? Where's our rhythm? Where's our strategy? Where's our patterns of play? We need a midfield. Put Bruno into 10 while Sesko's injured with Mbeumo and Cunha. Put Mainu next to Casemiro. Let's see what happens. Everton next is the next game. Anyway, good conversation tonight, everybody. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you as always. Enjoy the rest of your evening or day. Bruno's never going to get dropped, Chris. That's not going to happen. So we need to find another way of getting him out midfield because I can't see him going into 50-50 tackles, not fancying it. You just can't do it. Put him in the number 10. He doesn't need to tackle. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Stay safe. Speak to you all in a bit. Take care.